Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone. Those of you that were on time, thank you for that. And Danielle, thank you for being here on time with us. We are excited to bring our workshop today from Valley Nonprofit Resources to offer this resource to nonprofit leaders. Uh, my predecessor, Dr. Alejandra Acuna, used to say that the resources that CSUN brings to bear is going to be very useful for nonprofit leaders. So I hope that this particular resource that we're offering, that's going to be available to you right after this workshop, is going to be what you need and will help you. And we're here to answer any questions. You can email us at Valley Nonprofit Resources at csun.edu to if with any questions you have about the software, or if you have any issues, please feel free to let us know. Today we have with us one of the departments at CSUN, the Center for Geospatial Science and Technology, and the brilliant Danielle Bram with us today, who will be explaining the mapping platform that we've created for you. And this is a platform that you're going to be able to utilize, and we will be upgrading it to where it can do what you need. So today she's going to explain it to you. And just to tell you a little bit about Danielle, Danielle is the director of the Center for Geospatial Science and Technology at CSUN. She's a GIS professional and a project manager with more than 25 years experience spanning the higher education, nonprofit, private, and public agency sectors. Her applied research focuses on topics including water resources, vulnerable population modeling, municipal GIS, and community outreach and engagement. Danielle has served as principal investigator on more than 50 projects and holds a faculty lecturer appointment at CSUN. Thank you so much for being with us today, Danielle. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here today. Thank you, Lydia, for the opportunity and the introduction. So today, before we get started, I wanted to give a quick overview of what the Center CGST is all about. We are an applied interdisciplinary research center focused on geospatial science and technology, and we offer applications and education and solutions to real-world problems while providing our students with hands-on learning opportunities. So the mission is essentially to develop student skills that further their educational experience and prepare them for successful careers. The application that you're going to see today was actually developed by one of our student research assistants, Elmer Reyes. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today and participate, but in collaboration with the CGST staff, he did develop this application, so I wanted to give a shout out to him. In terms of the background of this project, VNR reached out to us a while back and asked us to develop an interactive web-based mapping platform that visualizes nonprofit organizations across the San Fernando Valley. There was an existing platform that some of you might have seen that is no longer active. This platform replaces that one for Valley Nonprofit Resources. And this platform provides tools to explore and really understand what the nonprofit landscape looks like. Today, we'll be exploring the platform, its uses and applications. I'm going to explain a little bit more about the data and its limitations. I'll deliver a live tool demonstration and provide use case scenarios. We'll discuss briefly a few potential future exploration opportunities, and then we'll wrap everything up and conclude with questions and discussion. So what can the mapping tool help you explore? I'm sure that's the question on the top of your mind as you think about what this tool what it can do for you. So some example questions, this isn't comprehensive, but some sample questions are, who is working in my community, who is working in my area, which organizations are working on issues that I care about, and who could be a potential partner or collaborator. Potential users of the tool would be nonprofit leaders, staff, board members, funders and philanthropic organizations, researchers, community partners, and stakeholders. The key thing about this tool is that you can click on the tool, you can gain information, and you can visualize the distribution of nonprofits, especially by sector in the Valley. However, there are some um, data limitations. So let's talk about those. So the data that was used in this mapping platform comes from the IRS. It comes from IRS tax exempt organizations from their list. And the data includes primary administrative offices of tax exempt nonprofit organizations. What it does not show, and I need to acknowledge this and be very clear, it does not show satellite offices, other program sites, other associated facilities that might not be recorded in the IRS data. Um, it also does show, for example, um, a name, organization names. It shows the organization address, but it does not show other specific information like phone numbers or email addresses or websites, because those pieces of information are not available in the IRS data set that we're using, unfortunately. So I'm going to talk at the very end of the presentation today about some ideas about how we could enhance this data set in the future. But for the current scope of work for this current platform, I did need to address what we were limited by in terms of the IRS data that we're using. I also wanted to mention that the planned platform data updates, that it will happen annually, and we can have Lydia talk to that a little bit more at the end if she wants to. But although I want to recognize the IRS data is updated more frequently, updates for information in the platform will occur annually. Let's talk a little bit more about the data. So there are over 8,200 organizations from the IRS data that are included in the platform. Those are just organizations within the San Fernando Valley. However, if you query that data and you filter it out and you only look at organizations that bring in more $1 or more in revenue, that drops the organization list to 2,300, over 2,300. If you want to look at organizations that are charitable with over 50,000 in revenue, for example, that drops the list to 1,136. Now, again, to be clear, this is the information that's up here that's shown in the platform, but I did want to identify that there are a lot of organizations shown there that may not have any revenue, maybe they're not fully operational, so we have to acknowledge that. I did want to also point out that since January of 2025, 679 new nonprofits were registered in the IRS database. They received that tax exemption status, and those organizations are reflected in the current data set that you're going to see today. Okay, I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint and I'm going to switch over and share the application itself and the platform itself. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up? Can everyone see the platform map with the disclaimer screen? Yep, okay. Thanks, Sam. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So this platform here, you can see the interactive tool that we've developed. We'll begin with a brief orientation to the mapping platform, followed by a demonstration of how it can be applied through a few sample scenarios. So when you first open up the platform, a disclaimer window appears here. And let me go ahead and make sure that the spotlight tool is turned on so we can see my cursor a little bit better. So you can see the disclaimer window appears, which describes what the tool shows, the data source, and a disclaimer that the data is for informational purposes only and should not be used for any sort of regulatory or official purposes. You will click OK to acknowledge and begin using the web application. The map shows points of various colors that represent different nonprofit categories, which are shown here in the legend. We can see, arts, culture, and humanities, education, youth development, etc. You can navigate the map by scrolling your mouse wheel forward to zoom in or backward to zoom out, or by using the plus or minus signs up in the top left of the window. You can also pan the map by holding down your left mouse button and dragging the map around the screen. If you've zoomed in and you want to go back to the original spatial extent of the valley, you can click this home button here on the left side. You can search for an organization. Let me just adjust my screens here for a second. You can search for an organization name by address by using the search bar at the top right of the window. By using CSUN as an example, as I type, you can see the potential matching results that are suggested. Place names that include the word CSUN are shown here, and below that are organizations that include CSUN in their name. So clicking on a result will zoom in to that location, and by clicking on a specific organization on the map, you can pull up more detailed information about that organization, such as name, street address, what the category is, and other information if available through the IRS data. There are several other tools available in this top toolbar that I want to show. So the little eye symbol here, it's our how to use tool. And if you click on that, it will include some quick tips on how to use the map and a link to a more detailed video. I'm not sure, there's a little, can anyone see the purple line on the screen? I'm not sure how that got on there, but I'm gonna
We can
clear
see
it.
it, but it's not distracting. It's fine.
Okay, I was able to clear it. So where was I? So this how to use window shows you very brief information. It also shows you a link to a more robust demonstration video similar to what I'm describing here today. There's also a link to VNR, to their email, where you can contact them with any questions or comments. Next, we have a legend, which shows what the different colors or symbols on the map represent in terms of nonprofit categories. We already briefly discussed this. We also have what's called a base map gallery tool, and this allows you to change the underlying base map or background map. For example, if you wanted to see more detail on streets for reference, you could click on the streets base map and the background changes. The next tool is the map layers tool. This includes different reference layers that you can actually display on the map. So let's expand the list under reference layer. I click this drop down arrow here. I'm also going to use this little corner, the little lines in the corner to expand the window so you can see all the different reference layers that you can turn on and look at on the map. You can show and hide individual layers by clicking on the eye icon next to each layer. For example, if I want to show LA City Council districts, first I'm going to turn off the neighborhoods layer so there's not too much information displayed on the screen at once. And I'm going to click to turn on the LA City Council districts that overlap the San Fernando Valley. Clicking on any of these layers once they're turned on allows you to get more information. So in this case, it shows me this is LA City Council District 11, this is the council member, and there's a link to the website. The next tool here is the filter tool, and this is probably the most powerful tool in this platform. So this filter tool allows you to filter the organizations shown using different criteria. Before I do that, I'm going to go back. I'm just going to turn on the neighborhood tool and turn off the council district so it's a little bit easier to see the map. So with the filter tool, if, for example, you're interested in 501c3s in Granada Hills, I'm going to search by IRS classification for 501c3 organizations. And then in the San Fernando Valley neighborhood, I'm going to click Granada Hills. And now you can see in the map, we're only looking at 501c3 organizations in that neighborhood. The table at the bottom, there's a little arrow at the bottom of the screen. And when you click that arrow, you can expand or collapse the table down here. It shows you a tabular view of all the organizations that are shown in the map. Clicking on one of these zooms to the given organization and pulls up the attribute window or pop-up window containing more information about that organization. Finally, in terms of the filter tool, if you click the little button down here on the bottom right, this allows you to clear and refresh and remove all filters that were selected in a previous step. The print tool, that allows you to generate an image in a PDF format of the map that you can either print or share digitally. We'll come back to that with a more specific example shortly. And then finally, the share tool allows you to share a link to the map, email it, embed the map in a web page, and even generate a QR code. I'm going to click it again to close down that window. Next, what I'd like to do is I'm going to produce and share two different scenarios to provide some examples of how the platform can be used to support your work. So in scenario one, let's say you're a nonprofit looking for partners. Imagine that you're a nonprofit leader whose organization provides youth development programs in the San Fernando Valley. Your organization provides programs for young people, and you want to build partnerships with other organizations that might be serving youth and families in the area. So some questions to investigate are: what other nonprofits are working in youth development or related areas? Which organizations are located close to you? Are there organizations doing similar or complementary work that you may not know about? How can you create a list of organizations for potential outreach? These are all questions that can be answered by this platform. So to answer these, let's use the filter tool first. Let's say that your organization is located in the city of San Fernando. I'm going to go back and open the filter tool. I'm going to go to the neighborhood filter, and I'm going to actually start typing in San Fernando, and you can see it comes up here. I'm going to click it. So now we're just zoomed in to the area of San Fernando. And next, since you're only interested in organizations working with youth and families, you would select from the combined activity category filter. You could select education and youth development. And that further refines the map. So you're only seeing organizations that identify themselves as associated with education and youth development, based on the IRS data. You can also see if I go down to the bottom and I expand the table, you can see down here on the very left, there are a total of 21 organizations associated with that category in the San Fernando neighborhood. From here, you can interactively explore the specific organizations through the table or by clicking on a specific organization for detailed information. You can also share a link to this interactive map with your team or others using the share tool as I discussed. And the great thing is that with this option where it says include URL parameters, what that does is when you enable that setting, when it's checked, the link you share will also retain the filter settings that you've used. So the map will then only share the specific types of nonprofits in a specific area. Let's also save the map for reference using the print tool. Why don't we create a map that fits a standard letter size with portrait orientation? So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click letter ANSI A portrait. And let's call this map San Fernando Youth Organizations. Pasting this in, and I'm going to hit print. And this will generate a PDF file that can then be saved to your computer or printed. And you can see it showing me exactly what you saw on the screen. So for example, if you wanted to zoom out a bit and then reprint the map, you could do that too. Finally, if you want to export a list of matching organizations for further investigation, you would go to the table at the bottom and these 4 dots at the far right of the window, you would click there, go to export, and you could click on export to CSV files so that the data can be accessed in a program such as Microsoft Excel. Please note that when you do that, there's a possibility that your browser might block the pop-up, so ensure that you allow pop-ups so that you can actually download this exported file. Okay, let's go to, I'm going to refresh the map and I'm going to go to another scenario. This scenario is one in which students or researchers are seeking data for analysis for a project. Imagine you were a student or a faculty member, and as part of a project, you want to identify organizations in the Valley that have assets greater than 50 million so that you could conduct further exploratory analysis. So some questions: what nonprofits meet this threshold level of reported assets? What types of organizations are represented? And what activities do they engage in? To answer this question, or these questions, I should say, let's again use the filter tool. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And I'm going to make sure everything's clear. And sorry, deselect. Let's go down to the filter at the bottom where it says assets is any of, and we're going to click the assets of an organization with more than 50 million or greater. So now you can see the map updated, and these are all the organizations in the Valley that with assets greater than 50 million. Let's go ahead and we're going to open up the table for these organizations. We're going to go back to exporting this table to a CSV file. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to share Excel. Can all of you see the Excel spreadsheet now? Yep. Okay. So this is what the data looks like once it's been exported to a CSV file and brought into Excel. We're going to use pivot tables and charts to show some specific information about the data that was exported. So let's go to organization type. What you're seeing here, it shows the count of organizations by type. So what you can see is nearly 2/3 of these organizations with over 50 million in assets are charitable organizations. If we go to look at it by activity category, this shows the count of organizations by category. So nearly a quarter of those organizations are involved in education and youth development. This platform, you can see how powerful this platform can be depending on how you use it. So it can visualize nonprofits in the Valley, identify organizations that meet specific criteria, and then you can export them in a common data format for further analysis in other programs or tools. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation here to wrap up. Give me one second. Okay. Can you all see the slides? Okay. So this platform provides a means to explore the landscape, but it is limited by data sources and also the available tools and functionality based on the scope of this project. There are, of course, a number of ways to build on the existing effort. So you can potentially expand data sources. One thing we're looking at is, so the IRS data gives us a strong foundation, but as we discussed, it only tells really part of the story. Bringing in other data sources could provide richer information about organizations, their programs, services, and communities served. We could also look at assessing nonprofit needs. We could be conducting a more comprehensive assessment of the nonprofit sector in the San Fernando Valley. This could help us better understand organizational needs, identify geographic gaps in specific service categories, and uncover opportunities for collaboration. Finally, there is a potential plan to enhance the platform capabilities. So ultimately, we could build on the current tool to support more sophisticated analyses for different users. Whether you're a nonprofit, a funder, a researcher, or a community partner, you may want to explore the data in different ways. Here is a link to the platform along with the QR code. I'll let us sit with this slide for a minute so you all can do a screen capture. I also assume that either Psalm or Lydia from VNR will be circulating this link after the presentation and after this workshop, so you can obtain it that way as well. So thank you so much for your time. I am going to open it up to questions and discussion. Here is my information if you would like to reach out to me. However, I would encourage you, if you have specific platform questions and comments, please send them to the Valley Nonprofit Resources email, and if appropriate, they will forward those comments to the center if there's any issue that they want to consult with us on.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That was wonderful. It's a very exciting possibility now for some, and I hope that everyone will use it, especially now, to let us know if you have any issues. Um, I hope you all got the QR code. We can put that back on the screen. We could leave it. We'll put it back if you didn't get it. And were there any questions for Danielle? You can come off mute and ask.
Can you all see the QR code again? Oh, did it disappear?
I think one thing that everyone is probably wondering about is that philanthropy. On the graph, you had a philanthropy section, and there are those that are interested in the foundations that are nonprofits as well in the Valley. So that may be one of the first searches that people attempt to do to see, what local foundations there are that can assist your organizations. So I hope everyone will take a stab at that. But are there any questions? And you can put your questions in the chat as well. Danielle did such a great job, Danielle, that there's not too many questions. And I think people will have to start using it
Mm-hmm.
before they'll have real specific questions.
I have a
Absolutely.
I have a
Mhm.
question. I'm on the
Yes,
website right now. Can you walk through how to export that list that you showed earlier?
sure. I'd be happy to. Let me go ahead and share the application again. Give me one second. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we've applied the appropriate filters that we want, and you have them shown on the map. Down at the very bottom, there's, let me click on, can you see, is that better? See my cursor? You can click, there's a little up arrow at the very bottom of the screen, and you
Ah,
click that, and it brings up the table showing all the information for the filtered features. And then in that table, you go to the top right under actions. It looks like 4 little circles and a square box. And then you go down to export,
got
and
it.
you can select, there are different formats, most of them, unless you're a geospatial practitioner, you're probably not going to know what these other formats are. So the most relevant one for all of you is export to CSV, and that's how you do it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. Look into chat questions to see. I don't see any other questions in the chat.
I have a challenge that you may be able to help me with. I'm part of a collaboration. I convene a group called the Alliance United, which is a gathering of non-traditional helping networks in the San Fernando Valley. We're located in San Fernando Valley, working under the umbrella of El Nido Family Center's The Best Start program. So my challenge is that the difficulty that we have is organizations and programs working in silos. They're so busy doing what they're attending to the needs of the community that they really have little time to network and to form collaborations and connections with others. So I'm interested in identifying mutual aid networks in the San Fernando Valley. How would you suggest that I initiate that search of trying to gather information about organizations that are working with the idea of forming mutual aid networks or mutual helping networks?
That's a great question. I love that question. So what this tool can, I'll share what this tool can do to assist with that effort, and then I'll talk about some ideas that go beyond this tool. So first of all, if there's a specific sector that's interested in creating these mutual aid networks, let's say, we used the example before of youth and education and youth services. Let's say it's that sector. You can add the filter to find all the organizations that are in that sector or service category. You can export that list, and then unfortunately, I wish that the data provided, contact information, but unfortunately it doesn't. But so someone would need to go in and, based on that list, maybe have an intern or someone go in and populate that list with contact information in order to start reaching out to those organizations. And so that's sort of what the tool would help you do. Now, to go beyond what the tool could do, there are maps. I'm using that term loosely. There are what they call network maps that people have developed. They're actually technically not geographic maps. They're maps that show who's collaborating with who's involved in a network. That is a type of analysis that can be done to show what those mutual aid networks might look like by producing a network map for a given sort of service category or area of interest. And I'd be happy to talk with you more offline. We could set up a meeting so I could explain a little bit more about that and what that could look like.
That's very helpful. Thank you very much. I didn't get a chance to jot down your contact number. I do have 67735, and then I'm missing the last 2 digits.
I'll go ahead and copy that information into the chat for you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you see the question in the chat, Danielle, about changing the
Yes.
category? Not something we can do, correct?
Yes, we can do that. If you send an email to the Valley Nonprofit email and put your organization name and what category it's currently under and what category you want it to be shown under, we can make that adjustment.
So we've got that data though from the IRS listing, did we not?
Yes. So yes. So let me back up here. So there are certain attributes of the nonprofit data that we got from the IRS and then what we did was then we also sort of categorize those attributes even more into certain classifications or categories. And so, we had to some of those categories we had to guess when we were condensing them into broader categories. So there is a possibility that one classification went into a category that may not align with how you see your organization functioning. And so we can always adjust it that way, not the original IRS data categories, but ones that we created to simplify the data a little bit.
I'll definitely reach out to send my organizations. I'm from Haven Hills, we're a domestic violence agency, and it's listed as marriage counseling, which is definitely not what we do. And then it's also other activities directed to individuals, which should be human services. My other question is, I see other agencies, just agencies that I'm aware of that are miscategorized. Can I send suggestions for those, or does the agency themselves have to reach out?
Um, so I don't know, Lydia, but we can talk a little bit more about the maintenance piece of this and making updates. But Lydia, what do you feel in terms of would you prefer that an organization themselves reaches out to request updates?
I think that would be best, that you're getting it directly from them. But I would, you may want to send something to them and ask them to change their category with us. And we appreciate anything that you give us at this point. Like I said, if you're able to do it now, everyone, to go into it and let us know any issues. We've done the best that we could with the data that we received, but there's definitely room for growth and updates. So thank you, Maria, for that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm seeing in the chat. I'm going to copy down that information. Thank you. And we can meet for consultation. Any other questions I can answer or we can answer?
Doesn't look like it. This was so great. Thank you,
A quick
Danielle.
question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, this is Cindy McHale, and I'm with Tree People, and I'm wondering,
Mhm.
do you guys have a vision can it drill down to like the actual space and see the topography and like some
When you,
other,
when you say see the topography, you
I
mean
don't know, like
next to each organization?
like physically where they're located? Like say we want to work with a school, can we keep enlarging and actually see the space, the physical space? It sounds
Well,
like that's a nice to have down the line, but not maybe now.
so you can actually, let me go ahead really quickly and share my screen again. I want to share the platform because I do want to show you something. Can you see the screen again?
Yes.
So remember we talked about the different base maps that
Uh-huh.
you could turn on and off.
Yep.
There is, if you explore these base maps, there are topographic base maps, for example, that you can turn on. But in the valley, it's flat, so there's not really detailed topographic information.
Okay.
But there are other base maps that could be theoretically added and turned on if you want the physical topography of the area adjacent to a school, for example, or a
That's
property.
awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Yep.
Can you click on the other one, Danielle, the imagery hybrid? I think that's what that says. So that's not,
Mhm.
that
Yep.
is
So
giving
this
a
is
little bit
aerial
more
imagery.
detail. Can we go in, enlarge that? I think that
Yep.
may be what she's looking for.
That's wonderful. That's perfect.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Welcome. And also, if you have any other questions about for Tree People and you want to chat briefly offline, I'm happy to do that too, if you're looking for something specific.
Now I'm just trying to understand what the platform is, and this is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is great, Danielle. Thank you so much. This is just one of the great workshops that we try to have for the nonprofit leaders at Valley Nonprofit Resources. And I neglected to state that I am a founder and CEO of another nonprofit myself, as well as executive director of Valley Nonprofit Resources. And we have a lot of exciting stuff we're planning for Valley Nonprofit Resources, including ED roundtables coming up in September and office hours. So if either of you, any of you are interested in either of those things, be on the lookout for those on our newsletter. I hope you're all getting our newsletter, and the newsletter link and the mapping platform will be on the website for you to access in case you didn't get the QR code, or you forget, or you want to tell someone about it. We're going to be putting the link to it on the website as well, and offering some different things. So stay tuned. We have more coming.
Yeah, and I see that Psalm also at the very top of the chat. He listed the link to the application as well.
Great.
Thanks, Psalm. Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate the opportunity, and please reach out with any questions.
Yeah. There's a video inside of the platform too, in case this video is not going to be up again for you to see until next week on our YouTube channel. But there is a video that Danielle mentioned as she went along the demonstration that you can take a quick look at to remind you how to do it. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. This has been great. Danielle, thank you so much again for your willingness to be with us today and to assist those that need some help in the future. Okay? On
Okay.
behalf of Psalm and myself at Valley Nonprofit Resources, and Jackie is with us. She's not with us today, but she's also a part of our team. Thank you for coming today. And if there's anything we can do to help you, that's what we're here for. Please let us know. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.